Can you feel it deep in your gut? That cold electric charge rattling through Ford Field? Can you stomach the thought of watching legends, players you've poured your heart into, get tossed aside like yesterday's paper, all for a shot at that elusive Lombardi? This offseason, Lions Nation is staring down a crossroads so brutal, so raw, that it threatens to break the soul of every devotee who's bled Honolulu blue and silver across decades of heartbreak. Mash that like button and drop your belief in the comments if you're ready for the Lions to flip the script and rewrite the narrative that's haunted this city for too long. Because insiders are whispering about a seismic purge lurking just beyond the horizon. A purge so cold and calculated it's sending shockwaves through Allen Park. Whispers swirl about ruthless cuts, about franchise icons and fan favorites teetering on the edge of oblivion. Rumors that, if true, will shred our hearts but clear the rubble for something far greater, something championship caliber. The names aren't just names anymore. They carry legacies, memories of sweat and sacrifice. The front office murmurs. A financial tsunami waves looming. Jameson Williams soon to command a crown-worthy contract. Aiden Hutchinson staging a payday that could rival the greatest pass rushers in NFL lore. Mona Reese St. Brown, already locked up but part of an expensive core that commands every dollar of cap space till the limit snap. This isn't about minor roster trimming. This is amputation surgery on the very limbs of this team's present roster, cutting away the sentimental to preserve the essential future. And yes, it's going to shred hearts. But remember the Matt Millen era? The bitterness of those losses? The endless rebuilds that tested our faith? This time, it's different. This time, it's necessary. We've all witnessed too many playoffs slipping through our fingers, seen our defense stand tall, but never enough. This is the moment that could finally snatch us from the jaws of eternal disappointment. Imagine what it could mean if the Lions double down on their core with the vetting and ruthless cuts. Fueled not just a tighter locker room, but a furnace that forges real championship steel. But then, the question gnaws at me. What if this slaughter tears the brotherhood apart? What if the spirited chemistry that Dan Campbell's molded shatters in the vacuum of cold cuts and cold contracts? Will we be staring at an empty locker? Room full of promise but no heart? Or could this purge ignite the rawest, fiercest playoff run we've ever dared dream, the kind Barry Sanders would admire, the kind this city craves? And if the first domino falls, if beloved players are sacrificed to the savage gods of salary cap and championship ambition, then brace yourselves, because we're about to witness the wildest, most heart-shattering Lions all-season in history. This isn't just another rebuilding phase. This is the wholesale remaking of what it means to be Detroit football. A crucible of pain and hope intertwined so tightly that every fan's loyalty will be tested on a blade's edge. Stay with me, Lions Nation, because what's coming next won't just be roster change. It will be a reckoning. If your pulse is pounding like a fourth-quarter kickoff return and your fists are itching for the next Detroit uproar, head down to the comments and unleash your roar, because this is the moment we stare into the abyss and decide, do we keep bleeding blue for nostalgia, or do we carve a brutal path to glory? The tension that rattles Ford Field now isn't about X's and O's. It's about identity and sacrifice. About the bitter sting of severing ties with guys whose sweat and soul have dripped onto these sideline paints for seasons. Insiders whisper that the front office is dialing up a purge so fierce it will leave our hearts hollow before sculpting the steel frame of a championship contender. Are you ready to see Jameson Williams, whose highlight reel speed once felt like our salvation, jettisoned to free up the cap? Can you stomach the thought of Aiden Hutchinson, our relentless edge hound, wrestling with a contract so immense that cutting bait could bankroll an entire defensive revamp? Mona Reese St. Brown's locked in, but does loyalty outweigh the cost of tying up precious cap space when every dollar could mean more game-changing pieces? This isn't timid pruning. It's amputation surgery on a roster built on sentiment, designed to purge comfort and breed competitive ferocity. Feel the ghosts of the million years lurking in the shadows of these decisions. reminding us how cheap heartbreak can be when rebuilds stretch into decades. Remember the gut-wrenching collapse in '97, the winless abyss of '08, the Caldwell, regime's dead-end wildcard bids? Those nightmares forged our faith, teaching us that only through fire can steel be tempered. Now picture Dan Campbell's locker room, once a brotherhood of battle scars and rallying cries, fracturing under the weight of empty jerseys, each cut a sacrificial lamb offered up on the altar of destiny. Will this cold calculus shatter the camaraderie that turned practice fields into proving grounds? Or will it ignite a furnace so hot that every player left standing emerges as championship steel, unbreakable, and fierce? Imagine the first game of the season, Ford Field under the lights. The crowd's roar built into a thunderclap as a brand new defensive front slams the opening drive, jaws dropping across the league as we beat down the Packers' vaunted offense. Envision that moment when the scoreboard reads a statement victory and the city beyond the stadium trembles with an electric belief that we did what no one dared, sacrifice the familiar to claim the extraordinary. But for every triumphant snap, there's the specter of miscalculation. What if these cuts leave holes too deep to plug? What if our hasty lop in the beloved names opens a chasm in trust between the team and the fans who bled for them? Will silence follow every missed tackle, a reminder that loyalty is a two-way street and that tearing away heroes can fracture the very soul of Detroit's gritty and heart? This purge, if it ignites, will rewrite franchise history. From the ashes of broken bonds, we may rise like a phoenix draped in Honolulu blue, or we may plunge into another chasm of regret and longing. As the first domino tumbles and the fallout descends, every true believer must choose. Do we howl at the pain or whisper prophecies of triumph? Because when the massacre is done and the dust settles across Allen Park, we will stand at the threshold of a new era, one built on ruthless ambition and the bones of the past, or we will watch our legacy slip further into the abyss. So tell me, Lions Nation, are you ready to unleash the most savage offseason in history? To bleed for the jagged rebirth of Detroit football, and to answer the roar that echoes in every corner of this city? The sun hasn't risen on this season yet, and the echoes of the past still haunt our hallways. But if you hear that rumble beneath your feet, if you feel the weight of destiny pressing down on Ford Field turf, then stand up and join the charge. Because Detroit's moment of reckoning is coming, and I swear, the roar you unleash next could be the one that finally changes everything.